are formed from large depressions, partly due to faulting. Now let's also look at the underground features of the karst region. We have the following features, the following underground features of the karst region. One, we have the caves. Cave is a large underground space that is formed as a result of the sinking and flowing of water into the limestone. And this is usually through joints and bedding planes. Two, we have limestone gorge. Limestone gorge is formed when the roof of an underground cave collapses, or when a river cuts across and runs down into a limestone region. Then we say that the limestone gorge has been formed. Resurgence or springs. And this has formed as a result of water sinking into the ground. And when the water which sinks into the ground meets hard rocks on the ground, it re-emerges or resurfaces below the limestone to form what we call the springs. And at times they may be called resurgence. Stalactites are found in the caves of the limestone region. They have underground features which grow from the roof of the cave towards the ground of the cave. And as they grow, they may meet up with the other underground features called stalagmites, which grow from the ground or floor of the cave to the top or roof of the cave. And when they meet, at that point where they meet, a pillar is formed. So a pillar here is formed by the joining of stalagmites or stalactites as they grow in the cave. This is what we have been talking about. We can see the pillar which is formed here by the joining of the stalagmites growing from the floor of the limestone cave toward the roof, joining up with the stalactites which are growing from the roof down to the floor. At that point where they meet, they form a pillar. And the stalagmites here are growing, or the stalactites are growing from the roof of the cave, while the stalagmites grow from the floor of the cave towards the roof. Now let's look at importance of limestone region to man. Limestone region provides limestone which serves as a major raw material for the manufacturing of cement. And cement, of course, is used for building or construction purposes. Now, limestone region also provides a good site for tourism. Number 3, we have that limestone region serves as a source of underground water. We're talking about the spring now, or the resurgence that resurfaces or reemerges at some point within the region. Now, it also provides a grazing land for animals. So let's look at the following questions and see how we can answer them briefly. Number 1 question says, explain the term focus of an earthquake. Number 2 says, the intensity of an earthquake is measured with an instrument called dash. And we have options. A, we have thermometer. B, we have seismograph. And C, we have the Richter. Number 3 question there is, volcanoes known for their frequent eruption are called dash. We have the options there. A, we have extinct volcanoes. B, we have dormant volcanoes. And C, we have active volcanoes. The 4th question there is, that or what is formed when stalagmites grow up and join up with the stalactites. A, we have a pillar. B, we have caves. and see we have springs. Number 5 question is that is an essential material for the manufacturing of cement. A, we have limestone, B, we have gemstone, and C, we have shale. Number 1 question, which says explain the term focus of an earthquake. The focus of an earthquake is that point where the shock causing the earthquake originates. It could also be called the origin of an earthquake. Question 2. The intensity of earthquake is measured with an instrument called A, we have thermometer, B, seismograph, and C, Richter scale. B, option B is the correct answer to that question, which is seismograph. Number 3. Volcanoes known for their frequent eruptions are called dash. We have A, extinct volcanoes, B, we have dormant volcanoes, and C, we have the active volcanoes. Option C is the correct answer, which is the active volcanoes. 4. Dash is formed when stalagmites grow and join up with stalactites to form Number the option A, we have pillar. Option B, we have caves. And option C, we have springs. Of course, option A is the correct answer to that question. Because when stalagmites and stalactites grow and join up together, they give rise to a feature within the cave of the limestone region known as pillar. And number 5 question is that is an essential raw material for manufacturing of cement. A, we have limestone, B, gemstone, and C, we have shale. Of course, A, limestone, is the correct answer to that question. So having answered those questions, let's proceed to another subtopic. What we have here is denudational processes. What do we mean by denudational processes? It is the process of lowering and leveling the earth's surface by the gradual breaking and wearing away of such earth surfaces. And forces which enhance this breaking and wearing away or lowering of the earth surface are known as the agents of denudation. And they include forces like wind, running water, waves, ice, etc. There are factors also which influence the rate of denudation. And the following factors are those factors which influence the rate of denudation. 1, we have the nature of relief. Now, when we have a high relief, an area with high relief, the rate of denudation will equally be high, and vice versa. Now, number 2 factor, the structure of the earth. The softer the structure of the earth, the greater the rate of denudation, and vice versa. Number 3 factor also is the local climate of the area. The rate of denudation tends to increase in wet climate than in dry climate. This is because in wet climate, the agents of denudation would easily act upon the probably rock surface that is wet, and because the surface is wet, it is a tendency that it should be softer than when it is dry. Because when it is dry, it will be kind of compacted, and the action of these agents of denudation may not easily wear off the surface of that rock. Number 4, man's influence. The activity of man also influences the rate of denudation. The use of man could either increase the rate or it could either decrease the rate of denudation. Now there are sequences or what we call stages of denudation. We have 4 stages of denudation. 1, we have weathering. 2, we have erosion. 4 or 3, we have transportation. And finally, the 4th stage here is deposition. Weathering, being the 1st stage or sequence of denudation, has to do with a gradual breaking down of rocks, either by physical or chemical means. Number 2 stage of denudation, which is the erosion. Erosion is the wearing away of the earth's surface by the agents of denudation or erosion, such as wind, running water, etc. Number 3 stage, or the 3rd stage here, is transportation. When these rock surfaces have been washed or eroded, they are removed or they are moved down from their original position or areas to new areas. And this movement is called transportation. Now the final stage, which is the 4th stage of denudation, is deposition. As the loose materials have been transported, they don't transport them forever. There is a point where they are dumped. So the dumping of these transported materials or debris at certain areas or places is known as deposition. And as they are deposited over time, they form soils and rocks. Let's talk